Okay. First card we got is Walford Sky Captain. Shout outs to the young prep coin, wherever he may be. So Walford is a Swordcraft commander. It's a 4 play point 4/4. And he just says, can evil for 0 play points. That's actually pretty funny. That's not a fanfare, by the way. He just has that. No condition either. It's not even like Alaska where it's like, hey, if you play an officer, you can evil for free. He's just like, hey, you can just evil for free, which I guess is cool, right? Now in Evo, he only gets +1/+1, which is a little weird in 2020. But he has a strong Evo effect, and his Evo effect says, Evo, if all followers in your deck are officer followers, including this guy, give those followers +2/+2. Now it's a very interesting effect. He does have the restriction where, kind of like Boltio, you have to build your deck a certain way. And the way you have to build your deck for Walford is that you can only have officer followers. Now, you can still have multiples of those officers, and you can still have spells and amulets. It doesn't mention anything against spells or amulets. It's just, you can't play any other commanders, and you can't play non-officer followers. So no Wind God, no World, nothing like that. But if you fulfill this condition, which honestly, you wouldn't go for, like, if you're playing this guy, you're making that deck, right? You wouldn't play this guy in any deck that's not trying to proc him, like Boltio, so he's his own dude, which I respect. So everybody in your deck gets +2/+2. Now, it doesn't buff cards in your hand or on the board, it's just things in your deck. And he only gets +1/+1, but he gets 2 for free. And then, I mean, everybody in your deck +2/+2 is not a bad effect. Certainly is powerful, right? Every single follower that you draw from then on would have +2/+2. So you get like 1 play point 3/3 quick bladers and whatever other officers exist out there in the wild. Also, since this guy's your only commander, you can use Gelt to fetch him. So instead of Gelt Amelia, Gelt will get this guy, and then this guy makes your Gelts be 5/5s. The effect can stack, like Golden One is saying, so technically, if you play this guy on turn 4 and turn 5, everybody in your deck gets +4/+4, and that gets kind of crazy, I guess. So it's a pretty cool effect. You know, I wouldn't expect a card like this to be, I wouldn't expect this to be like tier 1 by any means, but I think it might be good enough to make fun decks, kind of like Boltio. It's definitely something where I see the card, and I instantly want to build a deck and have fun playing it. So I think that's a good sign for card design. I think it's good. I like it as a sign. Okay, our next Shadowverse card is... how do you guys say this? Can I call this guy George? Georgius? Georgius. Okay, he's a Johncraft legendary 4 play point 4/4 like Wilbert or Walford, wall status follower. He says fanfare, give your leader the following effect. Playpoint orbs cannot be lost. Fanfare, if Overflow is active for you, deal 2 damage to enemy follower, and then 2 damage to enemy leader. If you have 10 Playpoint orbs, deal 4 damage instead. Now in Evo, this guy gets full Evo stats, as you know it is 2020, and then he has an Evo effect that says destroy all enemy followers with 3 damage or less. So this is what I like to call a good Shadowverse card. This guy is overloaded with effects, they all seem reasonably okay. Whether you want to play him for the negate playpoint orbs, I mean it's unlikely, but his other effects are probably good enough to play him, and then his leader effect will be, you know, you'll take it. It's not gonna hurt you. So basically you play this guy in the mid game, 4/4/4, full Evo stats, Evo, AoE for 3 damage, which is pretty strong. That's not bad at all. If you're in Overflow, he's doing 2 damage to the enemy follower and the face, and you can still Evo him and get the clear. And then, you know, you're dragon, so as you're rampant, you get 10 playpoint orbs. Well, now he's doing like 4 damage to a follower, 4 damage to a face, and you can still Evo him and clear the board. And his leader effect, while not being like super relevant, it does give you better use of like DJ Dragon, as well as the new 2 playpoint spell that I don't even know the name of, but the new 2 playpoint spell, it's like if you're in Overflow, it deals 7 damage, and you draw a card, and you lose an orb, but you wouldn't here, which is really nice. So This just seems like a good ass dragon follower, and especially nice with, you know, some sort of like maybe rooster ramp or anything like that. Okay, our next Shadowverse card is Committed Conductor. Committed Conductor is a Portalcraft Gold, 8 play point, 3/7, says accelerate 3, summon a bike, and then put a puppet into your hand. And hey, he doesn't even ask for resonance, crazy. Now if you play him for 8 play points, he has ward, and then he says fanfare, recover 7 play points. Now, based on this guy's name, he's a conductor, and to be frankly completely honest with you guys, chat, this guy's job is to drive the train, right? Like, he is very clearly assigned to be the driver for the Ice Shield train. The way the train works, it needs a maneuver follower, it needs a driver, right? Driver has to be at least 5 play points. So the conductor is really good because if you invoke the train or you just have a, you know, Ice Shield, you play conductor for the 8 play points, he's gonna drive the train will banish the entire board, right? And then you will get 7 play points back. That way you still have play points to utilize for your turn, instead of just committing your whole turn to get on a driver, which is really strong. And then on top of that, when your opponent finally answers the train will then summon the conductor, and then at that point you're getting a 3/7 ward, which is realistically what you want the most out of your train. It's like a big ass ward, right? So realistically, this guy's just a good conductor, probably the best maneuver follower or maneuver activator that we've seen in the game so far. And I guess to make him not be like super clunky, they gave him an accelerate effect. Now, I don't particularly think that is super strong, but it gives you a bike and a puppet, so you can think of it as like as a 3 play point DL3, which is bad. Or get a bike and then you can hold into a puppet, you can bike something else. It's not amazing, but it's there. It's better that the accelerate effect exists than it doesn't, so it's not bad. But you would mainly play this guy to activate Ice Shield's train, and honestly, I think that might be good enough. Okay, our next Shadowverse card is Blood Troth Epitaph, Bloodcraft, Gold Amulet, 4 play point, countdown 3. Fanfare, if you have more ego points than your opponent, recover 2 play points. While this amulet is in play, Vengeance, Avarice, and Wrath are active for you. So this is kind of like Sanctuary in the sense that, like, if you're going second on your first evil turn, you could play this, you get 2 play points back, so you can play and play like a 2-drop alongside with it, which is nice. But the problem is that, like, first of all, unlike Sanctuary, which is permanent, this has countdown. And in Sanctuary, it has like immediate board presence, because it can, you know, do damage, summon tigers, stuff like that. The Epitaph just gives you Vengeance, Avarice, and Wrath. And like, I mean, that's cool. I don't know, man. It just seems like Blood has all these different keywords and things going for it. Like, oh, some cards want you to mean Vengeance, some cards need Avarice, some cards want Wrath, right? And I guess this is like their band-aid to just like, okay, just don't worry about that, you get all your effects, feels good. But the problem is, like, you have to play a 4 play point amulet for it, and it doesn't actually do anything. It just enables your cards to be cards, which sounds really bad, right? Like, wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to play this and your cards were cards? Sometimes Blood is like super bonkers, and then sometimes Blood is like a joke, right? And honestly, like Wrath, I hate Wrath, but it's not even that bad. And like, this isn't making Wrath better, no way. Would you rather play this to get Wrath in the mid game? Or would you rather just activate Wrath for the rest of the game? Like, why would you play this just to get Wrath for 3 turns when you could just play cards that are going to give you Wrath for the rest of the game? As for Vengeance and Avarice, I mean, Vengeance is an absolute joke. Like, just an absolute joke. And Avarice is cute, but like, there's no game-defining Avarice effects. No one plays Avarice Blood. It's not a thing. It's just like a random keyword that Blood cards have. And I mean, it's cool design, but it's not gonna make or break the game. So until we get a reason why Vengeance is worth going into, or Avarice can dominate the game somehow, or Wrath just stops sucking, like, I don't think this is good. It just doesn't do enough. It just makes your cards be cards, which like every other class can do for free, right? Our next card is Isis. Isis is one of the Egyptian gods, right, chat? I'm pretty sure. Shadowcraft Legendary, 6 play point 4 for Waifu. So it's Accelerate 3, Reanimate 3. If you have more evil points than your opponent, aka on turn 4 going second, you reanimate 5 instead. So 3 play points to reanimate a 3-drop is okay, right? It's like, if you get a 3-drop back, paying 3 payments for it seems okay, like not bad. With the chance that you might get a 5-drop. But you have to like barrel ride a 5-drop, and I don't know if there's like any great 5-drops right now that you would be like, well, if I went second and I summoned a 5-drop for 3 play points, it could like maybe not win the game but put you in a great spot. I can't think of anything right now. But that said, it's not a bad accelerate effect. I mean, it's usable, right? Now for her main body, if your player has a 6-drop, she has Ward. It says Fanfare, give -1, -4 to all our followers. This is all followers including your own. So if a follower drops to 0, like Ilganu, they'll be destroyed. So you can think of her as a 6 play point 4 for Ward that AoEs the whole field for 4 damage. Which is actually pretty strong. Like that's good enough, right? That's not bad. We're talking about how the Dragon card is good because he has 3 AoE damage. This is doing 4 AoE damage and is doing it on Fanfare, not an Evo effect. Also, she has Ward, which is nice. And then she also does have an Evo effect while getting full Evo stats. She maintains her Ward and then says Evo, give +1, +4 to all other allied followers. So basically, if you had a board of something that could survive your initial nuke, if you Evo, you would like undo it. But it also means that like, let's say you could cheat this out or play it later on in the game. Like, you could play Isis, wipe the board, play something else, Evo her, and then you would buff whatever you get. Like for example, let's say you have that 1-drop, right? The 1/1 that summons a 1/1. If you have that on the board and you play Isis, Isis Fanfare will kill it. The last word summons the 1/1. Then you would Evo her, and then that 1/1 becomes a 2/5. Like, that's not bad. Not bad at all. All while having a playable Accelerate that maybe has good synergy in the future. Like I said, I don't know what Reanimate 5 follower you could do right now, but maybe there's better ones in the future. Seems very specific, Reanimate 5. I wonder if, you know, why the reason for that was. It just seems like a good standalone Shadow card. Now, I don't know what Shadow is like currently doing, but they had very, very strong decks recently, and I'm sure Shadow is still very good. Like, Trio is still insane. Lowers is still fantastic. The aggro package has some great cards. Like, there's a bunch of good Shadow cards. Something will come out and Shadow will be okay. This seems like a good card. I don't know exactly where it's gonna fit in, but I think it'll be good enough for sure. Now this is a funny one, chat. Our next Shadowverse card is the Pursuit of Truth. I know you guys love Runecraft, especially Spell Boost. Pursuit of Truth is a 1 play point spell. It says, if this card has been spell boosted 5 times, banish 2 random cards from your deck. If it has been spell boosted 10 times, banish a random enemy follower. If it has been spell boosted 20 times, summon 2 ultimate play golems. And if this card has been spell boosted 50 times, win the match. Now, it's easy to focus on the 50 times spell boost, which is, you know, pretty funny. The words like win the match is the most powerful effect you can put on a card in a vacuum, right? Because you just like literally win the match. Now, getting to 50 spell boosts is probably not easy. What I will say is that if you don't focus on that, almost pretend like this wasn't there. This is actually a great Shadowverse card because of all the other reasons. So for example, you can just place as a 1 play point spell boost your hand. That's good enough in some cases. You can place as a 1 play point, spell boost your hand, banish 2 cards in your deck. And if you don't have a lot of experience with card games, you might think this is a bad thing, but this is always a positive thing, chat. I don't care if you banish your Kuon, this is always a good thing. Think of whatever you banish as them being at the bottom of your deck, and you would naturally never see them in that game. It doesn't matter what you lose. It makes your deck smaller, gets you closer to a 20 cards or less effects, which is good. Remember, the cost of this card never increases, it's always 1 play point. If you get to 10 spell boost, which shouldn't be that difficult, I mean, Rini gets it all the time, right? You get to spell boost your hand, banish 2 cards, and then banish a random enemy follower. For 1 play point, that's a pretty strong effect. If you get to 20 spell boost, honestly, that might be close to win condition already. So you get all of those effects, and you also get 2 ultimate clay golems, and those are the 5/5s that can heal for free and give you a leader effect that every golem you summon turns into one of those. And I mean, that's pretty strong, right? It's not bad at all. And then in some matchups, if for whatever reason you got to 50 spell boost, the fact that you can win a game with it is funny, but I guess it's not bad, right? So I think this is a good Shadowverse card, and I think if Spell is gonna see play, they will play this. I think they will play this. All the effects are pretty good. On 1 play point spell with a bunch of good effects and spell boost seems good enough to me. With, you know, insane potential. Our next Shadowverse card is Lavonne. How would you guys say this? The Scentbound Sword. 4 scrap legendary. 5 play point 5/5. Crystallize 1. Countdown 3. Fanfare. Destroy an enemy follower with 2 things or less. Last words, put this guy into your hand. Fanfare, destroy an enemy follower. If at least 4 enemy followers have been destroyed this match by an allied Lavonne, deal 5 damage to enemy leader. So this is Crystallize support, and pretty good one at that. Essentially, Crystallize 1, deal 2 damage is pretty good. On top of that, it's actually Destroy, so it's good against, like, say, Ramiel. And then he gives you an amulet, which you can bounce for synergy. The amulet can be destroyed, which is good for things like Sukuna. And when the amulet procs, you get this guy back to your hand. So you always have crystallized cards to play, right? Because some effects, some cards really just want more crystallized. It gives you fuel for your effects, which is nice. And then when you get to play this guy as a body, he's a 5/5/5, which is well statted. He destroys somebody on Fanfare. And then potentially you could do 5 damage to the face, which is great, like a better Boom Devil. Now keep in mind, this happens first and then the other effect. So if you crystallize and destroy 3 followers, by the time you play this, it'll destroy the 4th one, and then you get the effect. So I really like this guy. I think he's a, I mean, he's got cool art. He's like good synergy for crystallize, for Sukuna. Face damage is nice. I like everything about this guy. I hope that we get more crystallized / Axel synergy for Forest. This just seems good. I like the idea of it. Getting fuel for stuff, getting extra amulets, potential more face damage. Well started to do with good fanfare. The next card is the Paladin of Clemency. What does that mean, chat? Clemency, what does that word mean? Okay, 2 play point 1/3. Fanfare, restore 1 thing to your leader. Enhance 5, summon Iron Maiden, and draw a card. Then on Evo, he gets full stats and draw a card. So this seems like support for Sanctuary, right? Like a well-statted 2-drop that heals, so you can proc your Sanctuary. Has a fine enhance to give you an annoying amulet, some card draw. And then if at any point you have to deal with this guy, whether that be as a 2-drop or as an enhanced 5-drop, and you get more card draw in case you just needed more resources. So potentially for 5 play points, you can draw 2 cards, get a 3/5 rush, and summon Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden used to be a 4-cost amulet, and while it might not be worth 4 play points, if you get one for almost free or 3 play points, it might be acceptable. Right, our next card is a Dragoncraft Gold Encounter from the Deep. Do you guys like the art on this one? 3 play point gold spell says, reveal a random Dragoncraft follower from your deck and put it into your hand. Deal X damage to a random enemy follower. X equals the original cost of the follower added to your hand. If X is between 7 and 9, give the follower a rush. If it is 10 or more, give it Storm. So I think this is pretty good, and I'm going to break it down for your chat. First of all, you get 3 play points, draw a card. But you also do damage to something, right? Which is pretty good. Like 3 play point, deal X amount of damage, and draw a card. It's already fine. And then if your follower is chunky enough, you give it Rush. And then if it's extra thick, you give it Storm. And I can't imagine that ever being bad, right? Let's assume you're playing this in some kind of ramp, Roost Dragon, right? Like, if you draw the Devouring Dread Dragon, you deal 10 damage to a follow, that's gonna kill it for 3 play points. And then you give your dragon Storm, which is good. But even if you draw, like, say, a Pumpkin Dragon, you're still doing 3 play point, deal 7, draw a card, and then your Pumpkin Dragon becomes a 5/5 rush to stabilize in the mid-game, which seems good. If you're playing Roost, you're getting the cost discounted, and the Roost wants card draw anyway, right? Like, as soon as you have Roost, you want to draw as many cards as you can, and being able to get those 10 drops, that's now a 5 drop with Storm, seems pretty good to me. Alright, our next Shadowverse card is the Radical Gunslinger. I can already hear her voice. She's probably all like, yee-haw. Say Swordcraft, 1 drop, 1 play point, 1/1. Is this not an officer? I thought it was an officer. It is not. Okay, 1/1/1 Bane. Fanfare, give your leader the fun effect. Did you ever think, chat, we'd get to the day where a 1 drop with an effect, or a keyword I guess, would give you a leader effect for a 1 drop? Bro. Alright, give your leader the fun effect. When an allied amulet comes to play, increase your rally count by 1. Then on Evo, she gets full Evo stats and some success, aka gives you 1 more rally count. So, I mean, a 1/1/1 with Bane, it's already good, right? Like, a 1 drop can go face and still trade for 2 drops or 3 drops. And you get a leader effect, and he has an Evo effect on top of that. Now, how good the leader effect is a different question. There's definitely, you know, rally support for Swordcraft. If you're playing the vehicle cards, they're gonna increase your rally, which seems good in theory. The fact that you get it on a 1 drop is kind of wild. I mean, she's got Bane and a gun. I feel like this card is good. Like, surely this is a good Shadowverse card. Now, I don't know how good the deck would be, since you wouldn't just splash this in any Shadowverse Swordcraft deck. Definitely have to, you know, try and do something with the rally. But Sword is like the rally class. And I'm not sure that Sword is like a ton of vehicle synergy, but the neutral synergy is always there, and it might be good enough. Seems cool. And then our last card is Sylvia, Blade of Balance. Portalcraft Legendary. 4 play point, 4/4. Has Ward. Says Fanfare, if Resonance, whatever that is active for you, you can evil this follower and recover 2 play points. So it's an automatic evil, doesn't take your evil for the turn. Now, she doesn't get any evil stats, but you get 2 play points back and she has Ward. So essentially paying 2 play points for a 4/4 rush with Ward and a free evo. There's not a ton of evil synergy in Portal at the moment, I don't think. Maybe there could be in the future, I don't know. Either way, it might just be a good enough tempo play, right? Now, this does require Resonance to be active for you. But hey, that's like at least half your turns. How hard could it be to be in Resonance, chat? Plus, she's got good Shadowverse art. And what more could you really want?